Okay, maybe I start by introducing Nadia while hopefully she connects. Nadia is the Senior Technical Product Manager at Amazon Web Services, leading the development of Amazon Braket that hopefully we'll hear more about in her talk. Amazon Braket is a fully managed quantum computing service. Before, she was the Director of Commercialization at the US DHS, where she led a technology accelerator program that launched several startups and brought new cybersecurity technology to the market. She has a PhD in engineering from the UC Berkeley and also a degree in chemistry and physics from University of Virginia. So it's a good mixture of the background. We just hope she will be online soon to tell us about Amazon activity in quantum. Okay.
So
you can ask question from the last panelist. No. But it's going quite well. Thank you very much again. People, please post your question. We have lots of prepared questions, but we're much more being excited to pass your messages, your questions. So we are doing our best. Thanks a lot also to those colleagues who are answering the question online. But keep it up. We are excited to make sure that this is interactive as much as possible, given the current situation.
And it shows that the quantum community is a real one. I mean, people are helping each other, so that's fine. So we still have no Amazon connection? The cloud is down?
The cloud is down, exactly.
That's weird.
So let me see if there is anything coming on the...
Maybe we should take some questions that were not answered in the previous
But they were all
panel.
question answer. We are perfect. It's quantum. It's very rapid. It's very clean.
Excellent.
Everything is clear. We are ready. All the question has been answered.
And we don't have communication with the guys in the video tech zone, so we don't know where we are with Nadia.
Maybe you have a question for me. I can answer any of the question you have, or I can ask you about
yes, I had a question for you that was related to Bruno Sparti's talk. There was a mention of ZX calculus, and somebody in the chat asked, what is that? I mean, can you explain what is the ZX calculus? We know Simon Perdry is one of the specialized guys here.
I knew that this name
France,
comes that I need to discuss about ZX calculus. It is, as Bruno already mentioned, is a higher level programming languages that you can describe. It actually goes very well for the... Oh, we have Nadia.
Oh, here we are. Excellent. So
hello.
ZX calculus is the MacGuffin of quantum technology.
Wait for the next break, ZX calculus. Exactly. Hi, Nadia. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Very good. We already gave an introduction of you, so we are all set and ready for you to start your talk. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. It's great to be able to join you here for this event. Let me share my screen so you can see my slide. Oh. So it actually says that the screen sharing is disabled.
We can see your screen here.
We can see the slides, maybe because you sent the slides to the folks in the technical team. And we see your first slide, democratizing quantum computing to spur innovation.
I don't think the main screen is saying. Give us 1 minute.
Yeah.
Hopefully, back there they're trying to fix the issue.
Sounds good.
Going too smoothly, too good to be true.
We need a couple bugs, otherwise it's...
So it has to be a noise in the...
Yeah, otherwise it's inhuman if you don't have any bugs. We had a small bug in the videos, but whatever. So where are we? Can we see the next slide if it's on a local basis, or can we see our own slide and give her the authorization to share our screen?
It looks like it's working now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, excellent.
Excellent. Good. Sorry about that. So screen is yours.
I hope so.
All right, so let's get started here. So thanks again for the invitation. I'm just going to share with you a bit about our vision for quantum computing, as well as our quantum computing service that we launched recently called Amazon Braket. And I'm going to talk about how that's making it easier for customers to innovate in quantum computing. So at AWS, we generally believe that the cloud is a powerful way to bring innovation to customers. And we're taking that same approach to bring quantum computers to users. With AWS, we have the ability to reach millions of customers all over the world, including startups, large enterprises, and government agencies that already trust AWS for their infrastructure. So we believe the fact that AWS is such a broadly adopted cloud platform also benefits our quantum hardware providers and our partners in the quantum computing space. AWS is also known for providing choice and options for customers that are looking to innovate. We have over 175 services available, including in technology areas like analytics, robotics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So it wasn't surprising that customers were also asking us about quantum computing. And at AWS, we're very customer obsessed. So when we started thinking about joining the quantum community, we were thinking in terms of what are the problems that we can solve on behalf of these customers. And what we saw was that a lot of things that customers said they wanted, we could use our history with AWS of operational excellence and high standards for reliability, experience in broadening access, and our ability to act as a catalyst to bring different technologies and parts of the system together in order to deliver a quantum computing experience that customers want now. So our approach and vision for quantum computing really has three components. The first is the AWS Center for Quantum Computing. Now, as you've probably heard this morning, quantum computing is still a very nascent technology. There's a lot of research that needs to be done. There's a lot of innovation that will be required to make the technology viable. So the goal of the center is to bring together researchers and engineers from Amazon along with academic institutions so that they can research quantum computing applications and work on developing better tools. We also have the Quantum Solutions Lab, which is a professional services program that allows customers to work with Amazon experts in quantum computing, as well as machine learning and HPC, so that they can really dive deep into promising near-term applications and use cases, and given them the opportunity to collaborate with experts on developing new approaches for quantum. And we have our Amazon Braket quantum computing service, which is the third element. And the goal here is to make it easy for customers to get access and to start working with different types of quantum computers. So a bit more detail about the AWS Center for Quantum Computing. There's still a lot of science and engineering questions to be worked on in this field. We know there's a lot of potential for quantum computing to be the key that could really transform a lot of applications and industries. But it's still a very early field. There's a lot of unknowns and no one has it all figured out yet. No one can tell exactly what the right approach will be for getting to significant numbers of qubits or improving the quality of those qubits in a way that will make large-scale practical applications possible. So the goal of the center is really to push the boundaries, especially focus on three main research areas that will be foundational for quantum computing. Looking at quantum applications, developing models for error correction, and improving the state of quantum hardware and all the relevant technologies to control that hardware. This center is really a key piece in how we look at the long term. The partnership with Caltech was announced last year. In last August, construction on the center actually started. So that's the long term, but customers want to get started with quantum computing right now. Last December, we also announced Amazon Braket as a preview service, and in August, we launched it so that it became generally available to all customers. Amazon Braket is a fully managed service, which means we take away a lot of the complexity so that customers can experiment with quantum computers with an easy on-demand model. We provide fully managed development environment so that customers are not restricted to device-specific frameworks when they're designing quantum algorithms, and so that they can get started very quickly. We also provide hosted high-performing circuit simulators so that customers can test quantum circuits on classical hardware. Here again, the advantage of the fact that it is managed is that it takes away a lot of heavy lifting. So you can get the best performance without having to worry about configuring and managing all of the infrastructure. There we go. So here's a bit more detail about how customers currently use Amazon Braket. To get started, they can choose to use Amazon Braket notebooks, which are fully managed Jupyter environments. Customers also have the choice of using their local IDE or to work through the AWS console that AWS users are familiar with. They can also launch notebooks very easily and start working right away. And this is because the notebooks are pre-installed with the Amazon Braket SDK, which is that programming framework that is hardware agnostic and makes it easier to develop circuits and problems to run on Braket.
It's not the right one.
Customers have the choice to run quantum tasks on either simulators or quantum processors. Simulators are important because you can use them to test your approach when you're still at that stage of validating your circuit and before sending it to a quantum computer. And of course, you can run tasks on real quantum hardware by choosing which quantum device to execute the code on. One great feature about this setup is that you can switch between devices with a single line of code. You can switch between the simulator and a quantum device, or in the exact same way, switch between two quantum devices so that you can run your same algorithm on two different machines. So as you can see here, Amazon Braket is also integrated with other AWS services. So customers can store results on S3 buckets. They're also able to take advantage of Amazon CloudWatch for monitoring, as well as AWS identity and access managements to manage roles and permissions in their account. So this is definitely great for customers that are familiar with AWS or looking to get the full benefits of working with the AWS cloud. So why did we decide to do it this way? What are some of the benefits for customers and the needs that we're addressing with this approach? Well, first, customers have asked for help to simplify getting started with quantum computing. We hear from a lot of customers that they hear the hype around quantum and they feel they need to start planning for it to make sure they are ready, but that it was challenging to get started. With Braket, we're lowering this barrier to getting started by making quantum computing available to all and turning it into a well-supported and predictable experience. We're using our philosophy and experience with accessing the cloud and applying it to quantum resources. For example, we want customers to be able to get started with no commitment and just try it out with a pay-as-you-go on-demand model where they only pay for what they use. This also feeds into why we're focused on providing an integrated approach. In many ways, quantum computing is still closely linked to classical computing resources. We see this, for example, in the importance of providing circuit simulators so that customers have a way to test their circuits without being constrained by the limitations or the cost of quantum computing hardware. This integration between classical and quantum resources is also critical for running hybrid quantum algorithms, and it will be something that really remains critical while we are in this NISQ era of quantum devices. Now, when it comes to quantum hardware, the key benefit here with Amazon Braket is choice. Customers want to explore and experiment with different quantum computing technologies. They want to understand more about what is currently available and possible. They want to learn how technologies can be applied to their needs. And through Braket, we make it possible for them to access not just different devices, but also different types of quantum computers from different providers. So as I mentioned, we believe it's important to make it as easy as possible to get started. And this also permeates how we think about the customer experience. So as an example, here on the right, you see a screenshot of the Amazon Braket Service Console. From this, you can access multiple QPUs in simulators. Customers have all of the information about the different devices right at their fingertips. For example, they can see which ones are currently available. And in addition to availability, it's easy to compare technical characteristics of the device, such as the topology or the fidelities of the device, as well as the cost of using each device, so that customers can have that transparency and make decisions. On the left is an example of a managed notebook on Amazon Braket. Once you create one of these notebooks, you have everything you need to start creating your quantum circuit, sending quantum tasks to different devices, and looking at the results. We also have included several examples from notebooks that show you how to run very simple circuits for customers that are just getting started, as well as more advanced notebooks that guide customers as they're digging deeper into the functionality of Amazon Braket, as well as into the capabilities of the different devices that we support. So when we talk about an integrated approach, I also mean that we're focused on a top-down approach, where we're really trying to help customers get solutions to their problems without us pushing for a specific technology. It's really about us providing a complete tool set to customers so that they can explore on their own. The familiar experience of working through AWS is part of that, but it's also about enabling customers to get the full benefits of working on the cloud. In particular, having the same level of monitoring, security, access management, and data protection is something that we hear from customers is really important to them. Quantum machines themselves are still at an early stage, but customers should be able to access them in a way that's reliable and through an interface that they can trust. And we also recognize that not all of our customers are going to be quantum researchers or physicists. We want to enable developers to also get in on quantum computing. And that's part of the reason why we give them all of these tools to access quantum resources while staying platform agnostic. So they don't have to learn everything about the quantum hardware in order to do something useful with it. So this ability to explore different devices and execute tasks on different types of quantum computers is something that really helps make that experimentation a lot easier for customers. In order to do this, we have partnered with several quantum hardware providers. We're thrilled to currently be working with D-Wave, IonQ, and Rigetti. And currently, we make it possible to access 4 quantum computers from these 3 hardware providers. Customers have access to quantum annealers from D-Wave, and they have the choice between 2 devices, the 2000Q solver, as well as the D-Wave Advantage system, which we added about 4 weeks ago on the same day that it was launched from D-Wave. And with this latest device, customers have now access to 5,000 qubits that they can use for solving optimization and sampling problems through quantum annealing. For gate-based quantum computing, we have trapped ion quantum computers from IonQ. This device has 11 qubits that are fully connected, so you can run a logic gate between any pair of qubit and take advantage of the high fidelities of these trapped ion systems. We also provide access to another gate model quantum computer, a processor based on superconducting qubits from Rigetti. It's the Aspen 8 device, which has a 32 qubit architecture. The device also has an interesting set of 2 qubit gates that enable really good control, which is useful for building complex circuits. So as you notice, these devices are very different from each other, and that's deliberate on our part. We don't want to bias towards a specific technology. We would rather make it possible for customers to compare different types of quantum computers and make decisions based on what works best for their application, knowing that not all devices are going to be best suited to the same problem. And I'm also looking forward to adding more devices as our current hardware providers continue to bring new generations of chips online, as well as working with additional hardware providers so that we can expand the types of quantum computers available on Braket in the future. So with Amazon Braket, we give all the tools necessary for customers to explore quantum computing on their own. But for customers who want to work a bit more closely with us, this is where the Quantum Solutions Lab come in. This allows us to have deeper, longer-term engagements with customers. One differentiating aspect here is also the emphasis on research. Customers have access to domain experts that they can collaborate with. And the QSL team works backwards from the customer's problem. They can work side by side with them, and the solutions can focus on quantum computing, but they can also include optimizing classical and quantum-inspired approaches, as well as pulling from machine learning and HPC techniques. Some of the ways that you can work with the QSL include understanding the impact of quantum computing on your business, as well as identifying the most promising applications and use cases relevant to your industry, and then developing a project plan around those.
Nadia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, because we are over time right now, and I would like to ask you a couple questions from the audience. So are you finishing your presentation right now?
Yeah, actually, this is the second to last slide.
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to point out very quickly a couple of referenceable customer stories. As you can see, we've covered a few industries of customers that have already tried Amazon Braket and worked with our internal teams to apply to their applications. So just to end here, I want to show what we call the Amazon flywheel. This is something that we really believe in at Amazon because we've seen this concept work. And so the idea is by providing more collaboration and innovation possibilities by bringing different parts of the ecosystem together, we're really helping to accelerate that innovation community. So we expect that as hardware performance continues to get better, more customers will be interested in trying out the options, which in turn will help identify more use cases. And that in turn will also help incentivize investment in the quantum technologies to push the limits of the hardware and to help drive innovation in software solutions. So we'll keep building this flywheel. We'll keep working with customers from startups and enterprises and academic institutions. And in order to deliver useful applications, we'll also continue to work with software providers that are building applications on top of Braket, as well as APN partners that provide consulting services in different application areas like computational chemistry. So we're very happy to have all of these companies in our partner network, and we really look forward to working with more companies, including hopefully some of you. So I will end here. So thank you again for the opportunity, and I'll take questions now if we have time, but also feel free to reach out after the event if there are more questions. Thanks.
See the slide later on online to go through the details. You know, there is plenty of questions on the chat, but I know Olivier is going to kill me if we don't start the next session on time. So let me jump, to one general question to say that in overall strategy, are we seeing that the picture is that we want to make sure Amazon on one cloud provider to be the unique monopoly of all the platform was there? Because it's a little bit of right now. We can either use Amazon Braket or we can go and talk working with this hardware directly. So what's the advantage? I mean, you discussed during your talk, but what is the vision and roadmap that Amazon has to become this central point of contact with the customer, and why not directly working with the hardware platform? So if you can dig into that a bit, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, it's really about providing that ease of access for customers. So quantum computers are still a scarce resource, and it's not easy for customers to get started. They have to negotiate all these different agreements with the quantum providers. They have to navigate different availabilities of the devices. They have to learn different frameworks and different device specific ways to work with the device. So what we're trying to do is really simplify all of that because we want those devices to be used. We're trying to lower that barrier so that customers can also experiment. But we're also really seeing this as a value that we provide to our quantum hardware providers as well, because it helps make sure that their quantum computers that they're working so hard in developing are actually getting, full utilization by customers. So we kind of see this as being advantageous on both sides, both from the customers because they have that one interface that they can work through when they have that pay-as-you-go model. They don't have to negotiate all these things, but also so that our hardware providers can focus on building quantum hardware, on getting to that next generation, and leaving the classical infrastructure and managing customers to us.
Okay, last question, Olivier.
Oh, there was one pressing question from the audience. Is Amazon willing to build its own quantum computer someday, or relying only on third-party vendors?
So I don't have any new announcement on this today, but as I mentioned, and as we mentioned in 2019, obviously developing hardware capabilities and doing more research in different types of hardware is something that's very important. That's going to be key to advancing the industry. So that type of research is something that we are doing as part of the collaboration with Caltech and as part of the collaboration with different academic institutions. But of course, on the third-party hardware front, that's also something that we want to expand. We absolutely want to work with quantum providers that are providing different types of quantum computers. And based on what customers are interested in, we definitely foresee that selection expanding in the future.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks, everyone. Please stay online for the next session that will start right away. Over to you, Olivia.
Thank you.